Hello, art people. Welcome to this quick one-day lesson, Kindness Flowers. I can combine ideas to generate an innovative idea for art making, so that I can combine two or more ideas to create a kindness flower. I'll know I've got it when I have documented at least two of the ideas I combined together to create my kindness flower. And here is the example for this lesson. Okay, we're going to look at some reference images now, and you'll try to use the reference images to come up with two different ideas for your flower, your kindness flower that you make. Okay, so it doesn't have to look just like mine. As long as you make a flower and write different ways that you can be kind on the petals of the flower, then you're good to go. So we're going to look at these examples to give you some ideas. So our art history inspiration is Vincent van Gogh. So here are some flower paintings that he's done. So maybe looking at these is giving you some ideas for yours. Okay, here are some more reference images that might give you some ideas. Okay, moving on. Here are some more reference images that might give you some ideas. And here's our last page here. Okay, you guys can go ahead and get started working on your flower. For mine, I'm going to paint an entire piece of paper with watercolor paint. If you are choosing to do painted paper as well, I do want you to do watercolor versus the acrylic paint because watercolor will dry faster, and this is supposed to be a one-day lesson. And I also recommend that you don't make the watercolor super wet because again it does need to dry. It should only take about a few minutes to dry so you can cut it on the next step. That is if you're deciding to do the painted paper technique like I'm doing here. You could also color a piece of paper with crayon or marker or something similar to that, of course. You can get your colored petals for your flower however you want to. Now it's time to do a little research to come up with some ideas of things to write on the petals for our kindness flowers. So the first thing we're going to do is listen to a story about being kind. So you can either listen to the story from Storytime Family called Be Kind or Kindness Makes Me Stronger. We're going to continue researching ways to show kindness by either looking at this picture or both. So pause the video here and check those out. What I'm going to do next is make a stencil for my petal. Maybe you've thought of a better way to make your petals, but what I'm going to do is make a stencil using an index card. So I'm just going to draw a petal first. Next, I'm going to cut out my stencil. Next, it's time to use my stencil to draw flower petals. I am doing 7 flower petals. You need to at least do 3 or more flower petals. Also, make sure that your flower petals are big enough to write a way to be kind on each of them. Other than that, they can be whatever shape you want. They don't have to be this exact shape. They could be pointy, they could be heart shaped, whatever shape you want for your flower petals. Now it's time to cut my petals out. At this point, I'm going to start thinking about the inside of my flower. I'm going to use my scrap paper and some brown watercolor to paint the inside of my flower. Now it's time to get a piece of background paper. I'm going to use black for mine, but of course you can have any color you want if you are going to be using a background paper, that is. Now I'm going to use liquid glue from the bottle with a brush cap to glue my petals onto my black construction paper in the form of a flower. Now it's time for you to write one way you can show kindness on each flower petal. This is part of the project that is mandatory. That means you must do this part. Now you can choose your own things to write down, but they have to be ways to show kindness. You don't have to write the exact ways that I'm writing, but you need to write one way to show kindness on each flower petal. Now I am simply going back to that brown paper that I made and cutting out the center of my flower, putting it in the middle. And then when I'm done with that, I'm just going to cut around the flower so I have a black border around my flower. And that is it for this lesson. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.